everyone. Welcome back to the Financial Flourish podcast, where faith, freedom, and finances meet to help you rise boldly in every area of your life. I'm your host, Michele, your go to CPA, financial coach, and fellow woman navigating this money journey with purpose and power. I take this time to thank all of our listeners for staying in tune to our podcast. I hope that you're not only listening, but you have been able to take some of the action steps and use some of the free resources that we have offered. You know, not just hearers of the word, but doers also. We're officially kicking off season 2, and I'm so excited about this one because we're diving into what I call a money mindset reboot. Over the next several episodes, we'll break down the emotional, mental, and spiritual blocks that keep us stuck in scarcity and fear, even when we know better. If you've ever felt stuck in the same money cycle, overwhelmed by decisions, or feel like you'll never get ahead, this season is for you. Today's episode is called Rewriting Your Financial Story, Breaking Up with Limiting Beliefs. And we're going deep. Because before we talk about budgets or bank accounts, we have to talk about the beliefs that shape them. We looked at this subject briefly in previous episodes, but we're going to get deep to fully understand the frustration surrounding our finances. So let's start here. What is a financial story? Your financial story is the internal narrative you carry about money. It includes how you view wealth, what you think you're capable of achieving, and how you believe money should be managed or feared. Here's the thing, this story often starts long before we even start working. It's formed from childhood experiences, family dynamics, trauma, culture, media, and even faith traditions. As I prepared for this episode, I remembered some time ago, maybe about 7 years ago or so, I was visiting with a friend and she told me, in conversation, she said she didn't like rich people. She complained about the things that they did, how they behaved, and she did not really explain the specifics as to why she thought that way. But I, and I didn't ask her, I didn't think to ask her. But it troubled me because even though she didn't think that I was rich at the time, I was thinking, one day she's not going to like me. I believe that this belief of hers came from something from her childhood. And hopefully she's listening to the podcast today and she can rewrite her financial story and become one of those rich people she did not like. Now, according to the Journal of Financial Therapy, early family money interactions strongly influence adult financial behaviors, including budgeting, investing, and risk tolerance. So that's something that you can look at to see what in your childhood has influenced how you're dealing with your money today. So if you're telling yourself, I'm bad with money, or I'll always be broke, or I'm not smart enough to invest, that's not just random. That's your story. But here's the good news, you have the power to rewrite it. Let's break this down. What is a limiting belief? It is a deeply held assumption that restricts your behavior or your potential, often subconsciously. These beliefs often sound something like this: I'll never have enough. People like me don't build wealth. If I make money, I lose relationships. God wants me to be humble, not wealthy. These thoughts don't just pop into your mind out of nowhere. They came from childhood environments. Maybe you see your parents arguing about money. They come from cultural messages. Sometimes black women are seen to be always behind financially. Religious misinterpretation. Some religions think that money is evil. or trauma. Maybe you lost a job, you had a lot of medical expenses, you experienced bankruptcy. So these are some of the things that influence how you're thinking about money now. Now, these beliefs settle in quietly and shape everything from whether you apply for the promotion at work or if you even open your bills that need to be paid. Let me ask you a question. How do you feel when you think about money? Empowered? Ashamed? Confused? Motivated? For most of us, our mindset was formed a long time ago, as I mentioned earlier. I spoke to a sister friend last week, and she told me that she was having a discussion with some of her friends about the things that you got from your parents. And she thought about it and concluded that she did not get anything from her mom until she was listening to one of the episodes of Financial Flourish and realized that she did get her money habits from her mom. They're very good habits, by the way. Here's the truth: your mindset is the blueprint for your financial life. If you believe that money is scarce, you will subconsciously sabotage abundance. If you think you're bad with money, you won't take time to get better. If you think about money in abundance, your actions will follow your thoughts, and it will not be reckless either. According to a 2023 Elvis survey, and we've looked at this before, worth mentioning, 72% of women say they feel overwhelmed by financial planning, and 56% of millennial women avoid talking about money altogether. That overwhelm isn't a math issue, it's a mindset issue. You don't need more apps or more spreadsheets to keep track of your money. What you need is a mindset reboot. I know financial planning is not a glamorous topic. I know you prefer to do something more enticing, but financial planning can help you have more fun. Here's the good news: your past doesn't have to write your future. You can rewrite your financial story. Let's look at some common limiting beliefs and how to reframe them. Limiting belief one: I'm just not good with money. How about reframing it to I can learn to manage money like a girl boss? Limiting belief number two: I'll never get out of debt. How about debt is temporary? I'm creating a plan to be free. And finally, number three: I don't deserve wealth. How about I'm worthy of financial peace and prosperity? Let me share a few real life examples of people I know, names changed to protect their identity. Example one: Keisha. Keisha is a mid level professional and she refused to invest her savings. She has her funds in a savings account that gives her 0.0001%. But why is she afraid of investing? She watched her parents lose almost everything in an investment that they made. And so she has internalized the belief that investing equals to loss. Our second example is Janelle. She's a single mom and she would not charge for her side hustle. She does, work on the side and she would not charge for it because she believed that if she's making too much money, she would disqualify from her financial aid and she'll push away her friends. And thirdly, we're going to look at Maria. She's a professional small business owner. She came to me for business advice, and I started going through some ways of how she can increase her sales. And she said, no, I don't want to make more than this amount because then she would not qualify for health insurance subsidy. Can you imagine that? But this is real life. What about you? What beliefs are limiting your ability to flourish? You can't outperform your beliefs. You might want success, but if you don't believe you're worthy of it, you'll sabotage it every time. Now, I want to pause here and talk about something important and honestly long overdue in the money conversation: mental health and psychiatry. You might be wondering, why are we talking about psychiatrists on a financial podcast? Because, ladies, your brain chemistry, emotional regulation, and mental well being are directly tied to your financial decisions. Psychiatrists are medical doctors who specialize in mental health. They can diagnose mental illnesses, prescribe medication, and help people manage conditions like anxiety, depression, trauma, and so on. I did some research, and according to the American Psychological Association, 72% of Americans report feeling stressed about money, and financial stress is one of the leading causes of depression and anxiety. This season, we'll be joined by not one, but two board certified psychiatrists who are going to walk us through how trauma, shame, and even our nervous system responses affect how we handle money. Looking forward to talking to Dr. Kelly Singletary from Kentucky and Dr. Monique Upton in Florida. We're going to talk about why your brain shuts down during budgeting, how childhood trauma creates scarcity, why it's not just discipline, it's something deeper than that. Talk about emotional spending and how your brain works with money, and so many more. So you don't want to miss any of the episodes in this series. Let's talk about the biblical aspect of this because God does not want you stuck in a story of shame and fear. Romans 12:2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." And John 10:10 gives you permission. Christ came that they may have life and have it more abundantly. So there you have it. Here's what I want you to do this week: five things. One, write your financial story. Where did your belief come from? What did your family teach you? What patterns do you notice? Number two, identify three limiting beliefs. And I gave some examples earlier. Write them out clearly and then ask, is this 100% true? And then the third thing you'll do is replace each of those beliefs in number two with a truth. So let me give you an example. Your limiting belief might be, I'll always be in debt. And your truth is, I have the power and plan to become debt free. Number four, pray boldly. Ask God for a renewed mind and the strength to break cycles. And number five, download your free money story journal page. And we have that on our website at absoluteaccountingcpa.com/financial flourish. This is a guided worksheet and it will help you to walk through these steps in a structured and healing way. Ladies, God is not glorified in your fear of money. He wants you to walk in wisdom, not worry. Stewardship isn't about shame, it's about trust. He gave you a calling, and the calling requires provision. So, this mindset shift is not just personal, it's spiritual. Wow, what a way to kick off the season! Remember, this is a journey. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be willing. In next week's episode, I'll be joined by Dr. Kelly Singletary and Dr. Monique Upton, who are both certified psychiatrists, and they will break down how trauma shows up in our spending, saving, avoidance, and how to start healing. Be sure to subscribe, share this episode with your group chat, and leave a review if this has helped you to rewrite your story. You were not born to stay stuck. Just break up those limiting beliefs and take another step towards your financial goal. And don't forget to flourish.